Today is the disappearance day of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. He entered Samadhi in the year 1564 to be reunited in the Nitya Leela of the divine couple. His sacred body was entombed here in this beautiful courtyard of Sri Sri Radha Damodar Mandir. In the Vaishnava culture, we understand that the great personality eternally reside within their Samadhi. So by worshipping and praying at their Samadhi, we can be fully confident that they are hearing us and bestowing their unlimited mercy on us. Formerly, this spot was in the middle of Seva Kund. It was a meeting place of the 6 Goswamis. They used to regularly have their bhajans over here and discuss strategies to spread the mission of Lord Chaitanya. In fact, this is the very spot where they used to wash their feet. Very sacred place. You see that window there? Between the year 1960 to 1965, Bhaktivedanta Swami, founder of the Hare Krishna movement, resided here of all the places in Vrindavan. He chose to stay beside Rupa Goswami Samadhi to receive the necessary empowerment to carry on the instructions of his Guru Maharaj, which was to spread the mission of Lord Chaitanya in the Western world.
Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam.
The Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains that on the western side of the tree of Lord Chaitanya, the 43rd and the 44th branches were Srila Sanatan Goswami and Srila Rupa Goswami. Both of them were brothers and were born in the Jessore district, which is in present-day Bangladesh. Their parents named them Amar and Santosh. From their very birth, they had an unlimited ocean of devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They had physical beauty, mental clarity, natural compassion, and love for every living being. That time, Bengal was under the Mughal regime of the Yavan king, Nawab Hussain Shah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah.
Shut up. Release you. Go and take your case before the Qazi. You are now at his mercy.
What's the matter, Rahman? Who is this wretch?
Adab Qazi Sahab. This pauper claims that he has no money, pays taxes for the past 2 years.
2 years.
But Qazi Sahab, you know, there have been no rain since last 2 years. and I had to get my daughter married.
But I have heard in your Rig Vedas, there are mantras to appease the rain god. So why don't you all Hindus come together and perform some yajna?
I am barely able to provide for my family. Please excuse me this time. Honestly, as soon as I will receive some money, I will pay every single penny of my dues. Believe me, please. Believe me. And you had already killed my cows.
Shut up, you fool. We want money, not your empty promises.
In case you have forgotten, let me remind you of Nawab's order. If a Hindu doesn't pay taxes in 6 months, he loses his cows. They are made halal. If he doesn't pay his taxes in 1 year, he will lose his land. And if he doesn't pay his taxes in 2 years, he shall lose his wife. And then he shall lose his life. Unless he becomes a Muslim. Allah is all merciful. He will forget all your offenses. And then you don't have to pay any taxes.
I can't do that.
But many of your ancestors have done that.
I have faithfully served our
Now you shall serve Allah.
No, no.
Where are you running? Get in!
The mercy of Allah is contained in this glass of water. Ya Allah Parvardigar!
In this way, the Nawab Hussain Shah made policies heavily favoring the Muslims and consistently deprived the Hindus of even the basic rights of freedom. The Hindus suffered oppression under the Nawab's tyrannical regime, while he remained
Here goes our horse, my dear Nawab.
And my wazir takes your second elephant. Now what will you do, Abdullah?
Your wazir is so efficient and dynamic in playing his game. I am wondering how my king is going to move now.
As long as you have an efficient wazir at home, the king is free to travel to distant lands, expand, hunt, and loot. What do you say, Muhammad?
Commander-in-Chief of the army awaits your audience.
Let him in. Come, Rafiquddin, come.
Commander-in-Chief is awaiting.
See, Rafiquddin, how my wazir has created havoc in Abdullah's army.
And has no reality with the real situation in your kingdom. As long as the majority of your subjects are Hindus, there will always be political unrest.
Yes, you are right, Muhammad. I have conquered vast lands and plundered much booty. But these Hindus pose a constant threat to my supremacy. Even while I'm away, I'm plagued with anxiety of my home affairs.
But we have always oppressed them for so many years, Nawab. What is there to fear? These sentimental Hindus? Ha!
Every time I use my sword, I create more enemies.
And it is not the best policy for a king to have many enemies in his own kingdom.
I know that.
Won't it be nice, my dear Nawab, to have all the Hindus under your subjugation and yet have their full support?
That sounds like a completely impossible situation, Muhammad.
To make the impossible possible is this servant's duty.
How? Muhammad, how? Tell me.
By getting a shepherd who can herd all his sheep to move under your regime.
If there is such a shepherd, then I want him here at once.
Your Majesty shall have not one, but two such jewels among men. The brothers Amar and Santosh.
Amar and Santosh.
Yes, Amar and Santosh. They are first-class Brahmins by birth and are deeply respected by the entire Hindu community. And not only do they command respect, they are worshipped by the masses due to their benevolent qualities.
In fact, they are always so well behaved and gentlemen that they attract the heart of anyone who are public. And are the leaders of India and Congress.
Aha, interesting.
I have heard that they are illustrious scholars of the Sanskrit language and they have mastered Bengali and Persian too. My dear Nawab, if you have them as your ministers, then through them you will have a domain over all the Hindus.
If that is so, I want them here at once.
Don't be so impatient, Nawab. You are a man of high integrity. And I seriously doubt whether they will sell themselves to you.
The words of the Nawab have no rivals. He wants it. They will have to.
The next day.
Our salutations to the great Nawab. I'm Amar, and this is my brother, Santosh.
Aha! Kushamadi! Welcome! Welcome to the palace of the Nawab. I am very pleased that you have come at such a short notice. Please take a seat and be comfortable. I wish to speak to you something important and confidential.
The king is always the representative of God. Must be very happy and honored to be summoned by you.
I have heard that you are very capable men and trustworthy leaders of your community. You have deep scholarship and sharp sense of discrimination. You effectively feel and understand the pulse of the masses. All traits of an effective public leader. I'm sure you will not find it difficult to understand that a Nawab of a large province like Bengal, who is fiercely engaged in the program of expanding his kingdom, needs efficient leaders to take care of his internal affairs.
Nawab Hussain Shah, what are you trying to indicate?
I am indicating exactly what you have understood.
With due respects to you, what makes you feel
I knew you would have strong apprehension to accept my proposal. But you may be aware that your Keshav Khan acts as my city magistrate and police commissioner. Your Gopinath Vasu and Purandar Khan are my prime ministers. And your Mukunda Kaviraj, he is my personal physician. And Keshav Chhatri, he is my royal diplomat.
So you mean to say
So I will be very happy to enroll both of you also as a part of my royal entourage. Amar, you should become my Prime Minister. And Santosh can be my Finance and Home Minister. For this, you will be flooded with riches beyond your farthest imagination.
And what if we do not?
Then, as you said, the king is the representative of God. And the power of the sword rests in the hands of the king. My dear, the lives of millions of Hindus now rest in your hands. The choice is yours. And the choice is obvious.
With this unfortunate burden upon their hearts, to avoid persecution and bloodshed, these dwells among men, out of compassion reluctantly accepted to serve the cruel, merciless Yavan king. However, they were ashamed and deeply regretted the position they held. In fact, their devoted father continuously lamented,
What a misfortune has befallen on my family. My friends have betrayed the meat eaters and cow killers. I always wanted my sons to associate and serve the holy man and Hari Bhakta. How ashamed I feel with the thought that none of my ancestors has ever served and done this abominable lowly activity. Oh Krishna. Oh. Yes. Now I must intensify my performance of Yajna to Lord Vishnu. And both for the atonement for my dear sons.
But because they served without duplicity, within a short time, they soon won over the Nawab's heart.
Did you hear, Santosh? Our dear Guru Maharaj has arrived in Ramkeli yesterday.
Really?
Yes,
Vidya Vachaspati is here in Ramakeli?
yes. Hordes of people are going there to seek his blessings.
Jai. How I wish that even I could once again sit at his lotus feet and study the Srimad Bhagavatam. His learned explanations are so full of devotion and meaning.
Even though we are engaged in all these political materialistic affairs, We are so fortunate to have him as our spiritual master.
Yes, Amar.
By serving his lotus feet, someday we will receive the mercy of Krishna.
Yes. That's true. Amar, I want to tell you something. Yesterday I had a dream.
Dream?
Yes. A wonderful dream. In the dream, I saw a beautiful, effulgent renunciate. Simply by seeing him, my heart was opened with pure love. This great magnetic personality spoke to me. Do not become too much attached to this materialistic way of life. You should go to Vrindavan and excavate the places of pilgrimage over there and write special literatures extolling the glories of pure, unalloyed devotional service.
And then what happened, Santosh?
And then it disappeared. And the dream came to an end.
Yes, I know. Santosh, he's Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he's living within this world. Santosh, we must surrender our lives to him. And only then shall we be able to receive the mercy of Krishna. And Nawab, I wonder what's on his mind now.
My dear Amar and Santosh, it is my greatest fortune to have confidants like yourselves. Amar, you are so efficient in managing the state machinery of my entire kingdom of Bengal that I am feeling completely relieved of my responsibilities.
Whatever we may be doing is all because you have reposed such immense confidence and trust in us.
Yes, trust. In fact, for a king, his biggest anxiety is his finance and his royal treasure. But Santosh, with you as my finance minister, what to talk of my wealth? I can trust you with my very life. Therefore, I wish to give both of you, my dear brothers, something. Ask for something, anything.
But my dear king, you have already given us vast amount of riches, constructed such beautiful palaces, given us grand estates, such high position and prestige, all much, much more than we ever deserve.
That is just a small token of my love for you, Santosh. In fact, now I have become so much dependent on you too that I cannot take any major decisions without first seeking your consultation. I know what I want to do. Call for Muhammad. Tomorrow, Ram Keli shall witness a special event.
The Nawab called for me?
Yes, Muhammad. Arrange for a special felicitation program tomorrow at our state capital, Ram Keli. Tomorrow, I, Alauddin Sayyid Hussain Shah, Sharifa Makkah, ruler of Bengal, shall confer upon Amar with the title Dabir Khas, and Santosh with the title Sakar Malik.
In spite of these honors, within their hearts they felt ashamed and contaminated for having to serve a violent materialistic king. However, internally they always felt deep suppression from Krishna and Vrindavan. To satisfy their natural devotion, they constructed within their estate a replica of Vrindavan called Gupta Vrindavan and installed beautiful deities of Madan Mohan there. They made Shamakund and Radhakund and a beautiful forest called Kadamba Kanan. In the meantime, they heard that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had appeared and in their heart of hearts were longing for the shelter of his mercy.
Santosh? What are you thinking, brother?
Amar, even though we have more than what anyone else can ever even desire, vast amounts of wealth, palaces, name, fame and high position, these are all so temporary and will perish with this mortal body. The only supreme reality is the Lord and His devotional service. Thus our hearts will remain empty and dry like a desert until we receive the shelter and mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes, Santosh, you're right. The Lord has come to this world to bestow upon unalloyed devotional service upon everyone.
Yes.
When shall we become the recipient of His mercy? I wonder why. In spite of writing so many letters to the Lord and informing Him about our situation, He has neither acknowledged nor replied.
With the passage of each day, my heart is becoming increasingly restless and impatient. Since the Lord first gave His holy darshan in the dream, my heart is simply hankering for the darshan, that form which is like resplendent gold, with His eyes like the beautiful lotus petals, His nose like the sesame flower, long hands extended beyond His knees, and His full grown face like the moon. Oh, Gauranga.
Madan Mohan is the Lord of our lives,
Yes.
and our lives are surrendered to Him. I think everything is happening according to His desire. Santosh! A message from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Really? Read, Amar, read. What is our Lord saying?
If a wife is attached to a man other than her husband, then she should perform her duties very, very carefully, so that the husband does not suspect that she has a paramount. But in her heart, she should exclusively meditate on her beloved. This is extraordinary mercy, Santosh.
Yes, Amar.
This is extraordinary mercy. The Lord is so wonderful that in just one paragraph, by using a beautiful metaphor, He has conveyed to us what he wants us to do.
Yes. For now, he wants us to continue our government service and simply await his mercy. By instructing us in this way, the merciful Lord has finally accepted us as his servants. Amar.
Understanding his devotees' heart and specifically wanting to show them his supreme mercy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, on the pretext of going to Vrindavan, came to the town of Ramakeli. As the Lord fearlessly danced through the streets, thousands, sometimes millions of people followed him with raised arms, loudly chanting the holy names of Krishna. The news of this reached Nawab Hussain Shah.
Muhammad, have you heard of this unusual mendicant who has come to Ramkeli?
Yes. It's intriguing what's happening in Ramakeli. In spite of there being strict punishable laws forbidding any public Hindu performance, this mendicant has the audacity to openly chant the names of Hindu gods.
And the influence he's having on the people is unbelievable. People are literally going mad behind him.
What else have you heard?
Not only that, people of all ages, young and old, are seen sometimes crying and sometimes loudly shouting the names of their God.
And some people just roll on the ground in a complete frenzy.
As if possessed by some ghostly spirit.
They are out of their houses, wide open doors, as if mesmerized.
I always knew that these Hindus are a bunch of irrational and sentimental fools.
My dear Nawab, there is a mendicant who has arrived in our kingdom and is having a massive impact on the whole of Ramkeli, Hindus and Muslims alike.
What does he look like?
Oh, he is beautiful. And his complexion is like resplendent gold. He has beautiful eyes like that of a lotus petal. His neck is like a lion's. He has a very thin waist and a broad chest. His limbs are as strong as an elephant's. And his hands extend below his knees. And mashallah, his eyebrows are as beautiful as the pose of God of love. Merely by his glances, he is intoxicating the whole of Ramkeli with the love of Godhead.
I heard he also dances on the streets.
Oh yes.
And the people are so crazy that wherever he walks, they are digging into the earth and putting all that mud on their bodies.
How he dances. Amazing. Amazing. I have never seen anyone dance like that. He is constantly crying. I do not know how many rivers are flowing through his beautiful eyes. His lips are constantly trembling and his hairs are standing on end.
Is it so?
Yes. His shout sounds like thunder. And when he jumps to the air and falls to the ground, the rocks breaks to pieces. But his butter soft body remains unharmed.
call for Keshav Khan.
We have seen many saintly people come and go in our kingdom. But he is different. I think we are fortunate to have such a mendicant in our kingdom of Ramkeli.
Keshav Khan, I have heard that there is a sannyasi who has come to our kingdom. You are a devoted Hindu. What do you think about him?
You mean that sannyasi? Actually, is just an ordinary beggar. These people are simply exaggerating his glories. He keeps roaming and begging alms door to door. He has 1 or 2 disciples following him. But don't worry, he's an ordinary person. And it is not even worth thinking about him.
What are you saying, Keshav Khan? Do you know who the Vedas call Krishna and the Quran calls Allah? That same absolute truth, cause of all causes, the ultimate worshipable object of everyone, has come to our kingdom to spread the love of God to one and all without discrimination. You are calling him a beggar? This is an offense, Keshav Khan. In fact, on this day, I proclaim a law. This saintly prophet be allowed to freely chant, dance, and preach wherever he wants to. In fact, I will personally torture and take that man's life who even slightly tries to disturb him. Go and call Dabir Khas.
Understanding the Nawab's cruel nature, Keshav Khan deliberately concealed the Lord's true identity. But simply by hearing the glories of the Lord, the Nawab had become transcendently affected.
Dabir Khas, have you heard about the sannyasi who has come to our kingdom? What do you think about him?
He is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the ultimate worshipable object for everyone. In fact, it is only by His mercy that you have all this success and opulence.
Yes. I may be the king of this small province, but he is the king of all the kings. If I don't pay my servants for 6 months, they will stop working for me. Here is a king who comes to our kingdom and people arrange their own meals for him. They leave their families and homes just to serve him. Tell me more about him, Dabir Khas.
You are the king and the representative of God Himself. Yet why are you asking me who He is? You should examine within your own heart who this person really is.
In my own mind, I have concluded that he is the supreme personality of Godhead, Of this, no doubt.
In the dead of night, the three brothers, Dabir Khas, Sakar Malik and Sri Vallabh, came to the place of Sri Chaitanya incognito. They first met Lord Nityanand and Haridas Thakur and revealed their hearts to them, who then brought the brothers to the Lord. In utter humility, wrapping a cloth around their necks and holding straws between their teeth, for the very first time they were introduced in the divine.
My dear Lord, they have come with a deep, intense desire to attain the shelter of your lotus feet.
I know them well, and I'm aware of the deep hankerings in their heart. In fact, I have come to Ramakeli only for them.
जय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य दयामय, पतित पावन जय जय महाशय. All glories to the supreme personality of God, the savior of the fallen soul. My dear Lord, we consider it our supreme fortune to be allowed to come here in your divine presence. We are very much ashamed standing here in front of you.
I really had no business coming here to Ramakeli. But on reading your letters, I could understand your transcendental nature and humility. Therefore, just to instruct you, I sent you that verse.
My dear Lord, we cannot even introduce ourselves to you because we are the lowest class of men, and our employment and associates are also of the lowest type.
Who but you, my Lord, out of your natural affection for unworthy souls like us, would go out of your way to come all the way here power of being with you. We can now clearly understand that you are the supreme absolute truth, the ultimate goal of all the Vedas and Puranas. You are that indivisible truth who is unapproachable even by the yogis and jnanis. You are so easily accessible by the mercy of your unalloyed devotees.
Your sole purpose in this incarnation is to deliver all the fallen souls of this dark and horrible age of Kali. We are come to bestow on the Lord pure devotional service on one and all without any discrimination, simply by the process of chanting your holy names. That's a delivery. The two brothers, Jagai and Madai, but to deliver them, you did not have to exert yourself. Jagai and Madai belong to the Brahminical caste and they lived in the holy city of Navadvip. But we beg to inform you that we are more fallen than Jagai and Madai. Because we constantly associate with those who are inimical to the Brahminical culture and the killer of cows and degraded meat eaters. We serve them. Thus, there is no one more fallen than us in the three worlds. Even though we are most undeserving candidates, the desire to receive your mercy, my Lord, is somehow awakening in my heart and mind.
Blessed are his eyes to witness such a holy exchange between the Lord and my father and uncles. I pray that one day that the Lord will also accept this jiva and give him the shelter of his lotus feet.
Indeed, we are like a dwarf trying to capture the moon. My Lord, please save us from this hellish condition of existence and accept us as your lowly, insignificant servants.
We have spent millions of lifetimes in this material world in utter forgetfulness of you. And considering our present situation, what is the possibility that we shall ever get a chance to serve your divine lotus feet?
The devotional merit of rendering service unto you is of far greater value than all the riches, fame and prestige we can ever possess in this world. Lord, if you are not merciful upon us, then it will be very, very difficult for you to find more suitable candidates for your mercy.
Please, my dear brothers, please stop this humility. This humility is breaking my heart. This humility is breaking my heart. Please know that you are my very own servants. Birth after birth, I have realized the sweetness of your love and devotion. In fact, you have such a pure and selfless heart unaffected by even a tinge of material contamination. Your heart is just like a lotus flower, just like a lotus flower untouched by the muddy surroundings. Untouched by the muddy surroundings.
Oh Gauranga, today the real purpose of our human existence has been fulfilled. How can we ever repay this unprecedented mercy which has been bestowed upon us?
Sri Vallabha, Shiva, please know, from this day on, Sri Vallabha, you will be known as Anupam. And my dear Dabir Khas, you will be called Rupa Goswami. And Sakar Malik, from this day on, you will be known as Sanatan Goswami. Sanatan Goswami.
Sanatan Goswami ki Jai Shri Anupam.
I am very pleased that you have come here to see me. Please go home and have nothing to fear. Krishna will deliver you very soon. Krishna will deliver you very soon.
Soon after this meeting, the two brothers decided to renounce the material world and thus decided to resign from their government services. Srila Rupa Goswami resigned immediately to meet Lord Chaitanya after distributing all of his immense wealth in the most exemplary way. In the meantime, Sanatan Goswami, being the Prime Minister, felt obliged to stay on for some time, even though he had lost all interest in worldly affairs. He was aware that if the Nawab somehow became angry with him, it would make the things easier for him.
In this verse, Suniti is continuing to explain and console her son Dhruva by saying, "My dear boy, you should also take shelter of the Supreme Lord, who is Vrityavatsalam, very kind to his devotees. For such persons who are mumukshubhi, that is desiring freedom from all bondage, should take shelter of the Supreme Lord through practical devotional service by becoming Ananya Bhave, one-pointed in determination." Hearing this instruction, Dhruva Maharaj left home and went into the forest.
Ba adab, ba mulaiza, होशियार शहंशाह आलम हुकूमत बंगाल नवाब हुसैन शाह तशरीफ ला रहे हैं।
Sakar Malik, what is the matter with you? Why are you acting so independently? Rahul Bilal, I have not come here to sit. I am most displeased that you have lied to me, Sakar Malik. In response to your letters mentioning your sickness, I sent my personal physician to check you. But he reported that you are in perfect health and in fact, studying Bhagavatam while being completely neglectful to the state administration.
Sorry, sir. But we can no longer expect any service from you. Please arrange for somebody else to manage your state administration.
What? Someone else? But why? Sakar Malik, I have treated you like my own brother. I'm just about to attack Orissa to conquer that state. Your elder brother is busy plundering, killing, and is completely dependent on you to take care of his internal affairs. You are not letting me down.
I know I'm severely disappointing you. But I am quite helpless.
Sakar Malik! You were such a dutiful person. How is it that you are neglecting your responsibilities in this manner? I'm surprised to see a sudden change in your personality, in your attitude. I trusted my wealth, my kingdom, my everything. And you? I'm very furious with your behavior. You cannot do that to me.
I have deliberated on this matter very carefully. And my decision is final.
Nonsense! Sakar Malik! If you don't alter your decisions, you will be punished!
You are the supreme ruler of Bengal. And completely independent. Whenever anyone commits a crime or offense, you punish him as you decide. Similarly, if you find my behavior inappropriate, you can deal with me as you please.
Take this man and throw him out of the prison.
After imprisoning Sanatan, Nawab Hussain Shah went with his armies to conquer the neighboring kingdom of Orissa. Having heard of his brother's arrest, Rupa Goswami sent a letter to Sanatan.
Lord Chaitanya has left for Vrindavan, and Sri Vallabh and myself are starting out to go meet him there. You also should somehow or other get released and come meet us in Vrindavan. I have left a deposit of 10,000 gold coins with the local grocer. Use that money to get out of prison as soon as possible.
Hussain, just see the play of destiny. The man once who was sleeping in royal palaces on soft bed. Today he is lying on a hard floor.
That's true. Some people go from rags to riches, and some from riches to rags.
Over the years, we have seen so many ministers come and go. But no one has seen leaders like Sakar Malik and his brother.
Everyone loves them.
People are so unhappy this turn of events. Anyway, may Allah take care of him.
Ya Allah Parvadigar.
Hussain, I think it's quite late at night. You go to the next jail and I'll take care of him. खुदा हाफिज।
खुदा हाफिज।
I have left 10,000 gold coins with the local grocer. Use that money to get out of prison as soon as possible. I have left 10,000 gold coins with the local grocer. Use that money to get out of prison as soon as possible. I have left 10,000 gold coins with the local grocer. Use that money to get out of prison as soon as possible.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
I wanted to speak to you.
you want something?
Can I speak to you?
Yes. Oh, sure. Why not? Yes, Sakar Malik. Tell me what you want.
Just by seeing you, I get strong vibrations of your devotion to Allah. You must be a very faithful Muslim, very devoted to his religious practices. The aura of Allah's mercy shines on your face.
You know, Sakar Malik, I have never missed a single namaz in the last 40 years.
Really? Since you're such a saintly person, you must be having very deep knowledge of the Quran Sharif also.
Let me inform you that every day I recite the Holy Quran for 1 hour.
Really?
Yes.
In that case, you also know that if a person helps another to become free from bondage and imprisonment, the merciful Allah helps that person to become free from all suffering and bondage and takes him to paradise.
Of course, of course. But what are you trying to say, Sakar Malik?
Look, in the past I have done much good for you. Now I am in difficulty. Please return my goodwill. I want to go. I want to go to the Holy Land on pilgrimage to Mecca. If you kindly assist me in the mission of my life and free me from imprisonment, you will get much religious benefit.
Yes, I am pious and religious man. But I want you to go on Hajj to Mecca. But what would Nawab Hussain Shah say when he sees you that you are gone? He will definitely punish me. Maybe even he will kill me.
When the Nawab comes, just tell him that I went to pass tool with all my chains on bank of the Ganges, and I jumped in the water and I drowned with all my chains. Then he looked for me here and there, but he couldn't find me. That I was drowned and taken away by the waves.
But what if he's sick?
And plus, these are 5,000 gold coins. Accept it.
You see, I am
And you see, these are additional 2,000 gold coins. All right, Sakar Malik, I will do this for you. You can go.
In this way, Sanatan was released from prison. Taking a servant named Ishan with him and traveling through forests and jungles, they came to a hilly tract of land in the state of Bihar called Patada. This place was very infamous at that time for thieves and rogues who would kill anyone for anything. Since it was very difficult to pass through that hilly place, Sanatan Goswami and Ishan stopped at an inn.
How much we have to pay you?
28. Just settle your account.
Hey, you! Come here! You stayed for 2 nights, right?
Yes.
You had to pay 50 codis.
What? 50 codis just for 2 nights?
Yeah. So what did you think? All this will be free, huh?
For that, you should have stayed with the tigers in the jungle.
No.
That would be free.
Anyway, take this.
Useless people. All of them have to come to mine only.
Yes, what do you want?
Is it possible to get some place to stay in the night?
Please sit here for some time.
By Krishna's mercy we have found this inn. Otherwise, how would it be difficult to cross this place?
Yes. And there aren't even proper roads there. Such a difficult hilly place, forest, wild animals.
Sardar. Golden fish. What do you mean?
See that person? He's nothing. And this is Ishan. And they have 8 gold coins with them.
What?
Yes.
8 gold coins.
Sardar. Let the next night. So that they could not escape.
Impossible.
Excuse me, sir. Is it possible to get some help to cross this very difficult and hilly terrain?
Sure. Why not? Both of you look very tired and weary, huh? Seems you have been traveling for a long distance.
Yes.
There's a beautiful river near. Why don't you just go there, take bath, refresh yourself, and come back? How much would it cost for a night?
You just don't worry about all that. I'm here. I'll take care of everything. I'll personally send my own men to help you across at night. For now, both of you just relax. Be comfortable. Vishwajit, make the rooms ready. Provide them all the necessary ingredients to cook. So, you may go to the river now. I'll see you later.
He's such a nice person, very helpful.
Ishan, you are such a simpleton. Are you carrying anything valuable with you?
Yes, I have 7 gold coins in case of emergency.
Give them to me. Ishan, give them to me. That explains why this innkeeper is giving us so much respect and hospitality. But why are you carrying this death knell with you, Ishan?
Everything is planned out. They will not see the morning sun tomorrow. And the gold coins will be mine.
Sardar, you are clever.
Dear sir, we have something to give you.
To me?
Yes. These are pure gold coins. I'm a prisoner of the government and I cannot go on the road of the civilians. I have escaped. It will be nice. You will receive much piety and benefit if you accept these gold coins.
Actually, before you offered them to me, I already knew that your servant had 8 gold coins with him. And on this very night, I would have killed you for these coins. Now you have offered them to me voluntarily. I'm relieved from a great sinful activity. Sanatan, I'm very satisfied with your honest behavior. You need not give them to me now.
But if you don't kill me, then someone else will kill me for the same. So it is better that you save me from this danger. Just somehow help me to cross and escape from this hilly area.
What an honest and charitable person you are, Sanatan. I wish you good luck in the mission of your life.
Ishan, do you have any more gold coins with you?
Yes, I have one more.
Ishan, keep this with you. When you now return home, go back. I shall now I shall now travel all alone. Thank you, Ishan.
Thus Sanatan Goswami as a fugitive escaped and continued his travels. He came to Hajipur where his brother-in-law Shrikant met him.
Santosh? You're all unshaven? What happened to your clothes? Why are you in such rags?
Shrikant, that's a very long story. You know, I was serving as a minister of Nawab Hussain Shah. One day we were blessed, Amar and myself, with the audience of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He soon decided to quit government service. Amar left before. And when I informed the Nawab of my decision to resign from his service, he became so furious with me. He became so terribly upset that he imprisoned me. Somehow I escaped from prison. And since then, I've been traveling, walking through jungles.
Oh, what an ordeal. I am so pained to hear of all this. Anyway, now it is all over. Please, come and stay with me.
Shrikant. No. My heart is already set. Cross Sri Vrindavan Dham. I must go soon to Sri Vrindavan Dham.
At least 2 or 3 days, Santosh. At least give up these rags. Just dress up like a gentleman.
No, Shrikant, no. I cannot wait here even for a moment. I must immediately enter into the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
But how will you do it?
Shrikant, please excuse me. Just somehow help me to cross the Ganges and escape.
That I surely will. But
please.
Okay. At least accept something. Please. Get a blanket first. My dear Santosh, it will be very cold across the Ganges. The cool breeze. How will you manage? Here, as a token of love, at least accept this blanket. Please don't refuse.
Okay, Shrikant. If it pleases you.
Thank you. Now, my dear brother-in-law, fulfill the longing of your heart and proceed to Sri Vrindavan Dham.
Sanatan then left and came to Varanasi, where he heard that Lord Chaitanya had already visited Vrindavan and was staying at the house of Chandrasekhar.
Chandrasekhar, you're indeed a wonderful cook. The supto was really nice.
Although I am very happy to render whatever little service I can to your lotus feet, my heart deeply pains when I hear these disillusioned Mayavadis of Varanasi blaspheming the absolute truth, saying that he is Nirgun and Nirakar.
Be pacified, Chandrasekhar. Because of your love, Krishna will deliver these fallen souls very soon.
I am waiting for that day when Varanasi will be resounding with the sounds of the holy names. What happened, my lord?
Chandrasekhar, there is a very great, pure-hearted, saintly Vaishnava waiting at our doorstep. Please go and call him immediately.
No, my lord. There is no such saintly Vaishnava out there.
Is there anyone out there?
There is one Darvish, very dirty looking Muslim mendicant.
Yes. Yes, he is the one I'm waiting for. Please go and call him.
Oh, most fortunate Muslim mendicant. Please come. The Lord is calling you.
Sanatan! Sanatan! My dear Sanatan! Sanatan! Get up, Sanatan. I'm so happy to see you, Sanatan.
My dear Lord, please do not touch me. I am so dirty and contaminated.
No, Sanatan. I'm touching you just to purify myself, Sanatan. Just to purify myself. And what to speak of me, Sanatan? What to speak of me? By the power of your devotional service, you can purify the entire universe. You can purify the entire universe, Sanatan. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhavat vidha bhagavatas tirtha bhuta swayam vibho tirthi kurvanti tirthani svantas tena gathavrita. Saints of your caliber, Sanatan, saints of your caliber can purify even places of pilgrimage. Even if such a person is born in the family of dog eaters, he is as worshipable as the Supreme Lord Himself. Sanatan, Sanatan, just by seeing you, Sanatan, just by touching you, just by glorifying you, Sanatan, one can perfect the purpose of all sense activity, Sanatan.
Krishna,
Purpose of all sense activity.
do not say that, my Lord.
Please know that Krishna is the deliverer of all fallen souls. And He has protected you from Maharaura, life's greatest hell. Life's greatest hell, Sanatan.
My dear Lord, I do not know who Krishna is, but I certainly know that it is you. It is you who have saved me from imprisonment, bondage, and all suffering.
Sanatan.
In this way, finally, my dear devotees, Sanatan Goswami met Rupa Goswami at Vrindavan. While they were there, their entire mission of life was to carry on the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Guruji, what were those instructions?
Those 4 instructions were to write transcendental literatures, extracting the essence of pure devotion to Krishna, to set proper standards of Vaishnava etiquette to their own personal behavior, and to excavate the holy places of Lord's pastime, and excavate the lost ancient deities, and set proper standards of deity worship.
Sanatan Goswami installed and worshipped Madan Mohan Ji, and Rupa Goswami worshipped Govind Ji.
So it would be very auspicious if we end our parikrama by taking the darshan of Govind Ji on the disappearance day of Rupa Goswami. Govindji, the Pranadhan of Rupa Goswami, and the Abhideya Murti of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas.